I quit my job without even having a new job. To that degree, I was that burnout. And as I was building my career, I understood that I needed to take control over finances. And
welcome to the Real Estate Mogul MD podcast. Thanks for tuning in and taking control of your financial future. This is a show where we not only motivate and inspire, we give you actionable, real-world experience to help you live life by design. You'll hear journeys and stories from other physicians, investors, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And now, here's your host, Brett Riggins. Excited about today's conversation. We're going to focus on physician burnout and limited beliefs that affect exploring new opportunities. These new opportunities, yes, they definitely include real estate, other types of investing, other types of venues where you can really take these gifts that you have and apply them in a way that align with your values. Really, really important stuff. And today's guest is an internal medicine physician who practices hospital medicine and is passionate about physician wellness and mental health. You can hear his story today and learn how he's helping others isolate these pain points when it comes to burnout and really see this before any trigger event or any big change in your life happens because of what's happening inside and understanding our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Where do we want to go? Does this align with who I am and what I want to do as a physician, as a person, as a father, as a husband, as a wife? As a friend, do these things fit? Well, today's guest is going to share this with us and share how we can learn together, share through his story and through our conversations. Everybody, please welcome Miguel Villagra, MD, to the show. All right, Miguel, how is it going today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I always love understanding kind of where you're at and what's the weather like today?
Weather is cold in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
But it's warm in the bottom of my heart.
Oh, there we go. Keeping it warm. It's all about perspective, right? Well, totally. On that note, perspectives, give us a little bit of perspective on where you're at in your medical career, kind of where you started and where you're at now, Miguel.
Yeah, totally. I am internal medicine by training. I have dedicated my career to hospital medicine, so I'm a hospitalist. I did different leadership roles in medicine, from medical director to regional medical director, and I got burned out in the process to the extent that I have to basically click a restart button and start focusing more on my personal goals, financial goals, and I shift my career from that leadership track I was heading towards to kind of build my own career according to my values and my preference. And that led me to kind of reduce my clinical work, took care of my finances, and start investing in real estate, among others. And that's how I came across coaching. I have a few coaches that helped me to get through the bottom of my burnout. And I decided to become a coach myself. And I built a platform at A Doctor's Journey where I can basically share my story and empower physicians that change is possible at any stage of our career. Right now, I will say that I'm still enjoy doing medicine. I'm still a hospitalist. I'm still on the trenches. I'm still taking care of patients, way less than before. That allowed me to be working from home in my telemedicine gig and deal with my real estate investing also from home and be more with the family. So that has been, I would say, the recipe for my own definition of success, which each of us have a different version of it. But I can tell you that it's possible when you find the clarity of what you really want. That's the first step toward making things happen in your life.
Yeah, finding that clarity and self-realization is a huge piece of that, right, Miguel? Where we realize not only what is it that we want, what we want, but we kind of learn along the way too. Some of the stuff that we're looking at or shooting for, we may have been conditioned to wanting, and may not actually align. Like when you stepped back and looked at your values and living life by design in a manner that pleases you and getting past that self-realization. And I don't know if we ever get past the self-realization point, but that's the entry point of, hey, where am I really at? And that helps me understand where I'm going. And it's interesting, Miguel, that in this process, the burnout often triggers this sort of change. And I'm sure that in that particular scenario, like many other physicians, have that same trigger point. And I think it's very beneficial for you to share. And you mentioned a doctor's journey, and the listeners can find that just the way that it sounds, at doctorsjourney.com, to see your experience and also connect with you to learn a little bit more about that, because sharing is where we can learn from each other and with each other.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the way I look at things is that we learn just for telling our stories. And I can tell you, back in 2017, I was extremely burnt out, dissatisfied with my career, almost considering leaving medicine all at once. And that's part of why I try people, when you were mentioning the trigger point, I would say the pain points will be more accurate. Try to avoid to that deep, almost moral injury, kind of degree of burnout. And I think that building lampposts around you and warning signs that alert you that you're getting in trouble, that's one of the things that I always share with people. The second thing is, physicians, we're warriors, right? And we're advocate of our patients. So, and usually we put our patients first. And I'm actually working on a presentation for next year where I'm going to touch base on what I call the patient fallacy, the patient comes first fallacy, because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't take care of your patients. And that's the reality. And yet, practically speaking, that's not the way we're measured by, and I'm talking about employers in general. That's not the way we look at ourselves either. So that's why I think that it's important to recognize our limitations. And to tell you the truth, when I reflect back, one of my values is freedom. And as you know, in the corporate world, when you're having a leadership role, you are a medical director or a chief medical officer and stuff like that. Of course, freedom is one of the trade-offs, and I have nothing against that, and I know that people love, and I empower people to get and step up in the ladder, because I think we need physicians in leadership roles. But on the flip side, you need to really understand that that's aligned with your core values. And it didn't align with me, and I wish I knew this before. When I reflect back, I wish I knew that I didn't even like what at the time I was pursuing professionally. And as my career was going up by my professional standard, my quality of life was going down because I was ignoring things that mattered to me, like my relationship with my family.
Mm-hmm. Freedom, and so many things are related to that freedom piece: time freedom, financial freedom, freedom of choice, all of these things. Very interesting. So it was not a trigger, but pain points. And that's almost pushing it farther back and saying, okay, we're looking to be proactive instead of reactive. Because if it's a trigger point, then it's a reactive point. But on those symptoms, then it enables us to say, hey, where are these things that are standing out to us that don't align? And this path, Miguel, you said it allowed you to step back, and now, to me, I hear you on a path that allows you to practice medicine because you want to, in a way that you want to, because it aligns with what you want. But one of the things that allowed you to do that, it sounds like, is maybe real estate, right? Where are you at right now with real estate that has allowed you to make that change?
Right. So a couple of things. Let me step back a little bit behind. After I was burned out and everything, I quit my job, Brett, without even having a new job. To that degree, I was that burnout. And as I was building my career, I understood that I needed to take control over finances, and that include making hard decisions, including basically step aside from some financial advisor that I felt at the time were not advocate of my own financial goals, which I'm sure you probably, in some of your audience, might resonate having that in the background and story. So I spent a lot of time, nearly a sabbatical I read a lot of books about investing, about retirement, and I took full control of my finances. And I designed my financial plan. And at the time, I focused on my investment plan through my retirement accounts. And that's when I came across the real estate. I did some courses on how to bet syndications and private funds, and I started investing in it heavily over the following 12 to 18 months. And I saw the power of it. I started getting all these quarterly checks, this cash flow, mostly tax-free from depreciation that was so empowering. At the time, I was mind-blowing by the value of it. And then I realized, Brett, that I couldn't even cut one shift in my work. And I was like, I remember when I get cash flow and I said, okay, I can cut one day in the hospital. But it felt so good, man. It was like amazing, And then I said, okay, you know what? I can cut down on 2 shifts now. And I was like, it was like a very interesting transition when you start feeling how is the compounding effect is happening as you see it happening. And right now, my real estate portfolio has grew almost 30% of my total assets. And that's just I would say 3.5 years since I first started my journey in real estate. And interesting, as I was cutting down on my clinical shifts, I decided to have more time to reflect on what I did wanted to do. And that's when I came across coaching, and I started coaching physicians, share my story, empower them. And at first I started doing just focus on burnout. But shortly after, I realized that a lot of physicians are ready to make similar changes on their life. It might be a simple change, right? It doesn't have to be a huge change, like give up medicine completely. And that's what I've been doing lately, encouraging and teaching people, right? That change is possible at any stage of your career, and there are options out there. And that led me to start getting to know people with new healthcare startups. And right now, I'm connecting a lot of physicians with new startups in the Bay Area. I live in Reno, not far from where I live. And some of them are looking at physicians advisory roles and some others. And it's a very interesting way to kind of start getting into what is out there besides medicine. Because I think that the world, and I'm trying to share this like from a perspective, you can see like an eagle view of things when you go from your retirement accounts, which obviously you should max out when you can. Real estate is a powerful tool because that cash flow can allow you to kind of give up some of your clinical work. And that led you to take more risk, right? And get into other type of investment, like even angel investing. And I'm getting into at this point because I have the time, I have the freedom, and I have the money to do it. So, and now when I go back to the hospital, I've still been on the trenches. You go back with this, it's a very interesting situation, right? Because you build a new identity.
Miguel's got a different strut walking down the hall now, right? Does it feel a little different walking around because you want to be there?
Totally. It's like, right now I was just sharing with my wife, I feel like I have different capes, right? I have my entrepreneur cape, my coach cape, my physician cape, So, and it's very, very empowering, It's like, you go back and see things, see the flaws in the system, and you start seeing patterns that, going back to the healthcare part, startups and journey, is the fact that I truly believe through innovation is that we're going to get rid, we're not going to get rid, but at least we're going to improve significantly the burnout phenomenon that's so bad affecting us.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother enemy in and of itself. And I'm not a physician, but I've related this to just being a high performer in general. And as a high performer, there's just like this desire, this passion, I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm just working. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm focused. And it takes you away so much from the lifestyle by design that when you do lift your head up, when you do understand you've got to work on yourself to get yourself out of the weeds in order to see over the weeds to help anybody else, that happens to high performers as well as physicians. But in the physician world, it's something that we talk about a lot. And it's just, it's overwhelming, overwhelming. And there's so much of it out there.
Totally. And the best analogy I can give you, it feels like the matrix, so you need to get out of the matrix, this automatic system that those automatic lives that we are part of. But it requires a lot of effort. Change is not easy, and it requires a lot of work and time. And that's one of the things I share on my coaching program. This is not going to be easy, taking you from point A to B in coaching. We call the river of misery, and it's some bad, but that's true. Sometimes, you need to really be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and some people really might not like that. And the second thing about physician is that we build this physician persona, right? We went through medical school, residency, fellowship, PhD, and we spend so much time on building our craft that we feel like we just cannot do anything else besides just medicine, and that's one of the paradigm shift that needs to change, because we have the skill set to be successful in so many different things. I'm sure you have as guests people that has been so successful in real estate, in other projects and coaching and so on. And I'm hoping that led to an example like that is possible. And we have the skill set for it.
Yeah. Understanding that there in this path, we all, no matter what your career is, no matter what your circumstances are, we have to separate time from money. That's something that we have to do. And the earlier that we understand it, the more that we can share how we did it personally and make it prevalent that this is something that we have to do. That's where the freedom happens, where we're able to do things passionately, care passionately, give back passionately. It's a remarkable place to be. This point here, Miguel, where you were transitioning into real estate, and you talked to us a little bit about what that looked like for you. It sounded like to me more passive than active in that scenario. And again, a great approach. Everybody's got a different angle, but a great approach. And for the listeners, he agreed. He shook his head and he said yes, the passive side. But what is that? What were some of the limiting, besides what you stated about, as a physician, some physicians may feel that you work so hard on your profession, on your specific niche area, specialization, that you didn't feel you had time or need to do anything else. So besides that, are there any other limiting beliefs that you had to overcome to transition into an asset class that's based, on a market that's called inefficient, right? How did you make that change to say, what can I do? Because we don't learn about this stuff in school.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that has been extremely empowering for me is to build community around. There are multiple communities of physicians that are investing in real estate and in the whole spectrum, and from active to passive and whatever in between. And I think that make things, I would say, easier. The second thing is I was led by, honestly, kind of get all to understand, what cash flow was, and how a syndication was structured, what was going to be my money, who was going to be the stewardship of that money. And I realized that one of the things that it helped us is we're really good at building relationship for the most part. And getting to know people out of medicine has been extremely empowering. When I start getting to know people, not only, and I know physician syndicators, which I have invested in a few, but I also invest with non-physician syndicators too. And getting to know people out of the usual medicine spectrum has been very, very empowering, because again, I think real estate is a lot driven by relationship, the circle of genius that you have or you're building around. So I think that was one of my issues, that idea of I won't have the time to build all this relationship. And believe me, we all have a limited amount of time, but if I dare anyone to do a time inventory, like the whole day, what you're spending time on. I bet you will find those openings where you can make those phone calls, those video calls. And right now, I actually, as a part of my coaching program, I have like a business meeting. So I love to be connected with people that I can have mutual benefit of collaboration for the future and things like that.
So the ability to build, nurture, and grow from these relationships. And as a physician saying that, yeah, you're good at that. I mean, you're in the business of people, basically. And I think leveraging that is huge, because I always say, Miguel, that expanding your association is a necessity, and getting outside of that circle is really, really important. So don't just talk about real estate to other physicians. Go to these meetups, go to groups, go to different places where there are other types of investors there, and get outside the medicine circle.
Yeah, no, I back in 2017, I made the commitment, and I still go to the regular Society of Hospital Medicine meeting or American College of Physicians meeting, but I made myself the commitment of go at least to one non-clinical, non-medicine meeting at least a year. And I can tell you now I'm going to at least 2 to 3, and I'm actually speaking on some of them, which is extremely fascinating and mind-blowing to me. I will never think I was going to be doing these 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations for reaching out. There's just so much here to be grateful for of having that self-realization, that reflection point, to then, turn it and turn this life, this path, this journey in a way that's now being lived by design. What's something that you could suggest to the listeners out there if they are, kind of in this point too, or they have these symptoms, these pain points, and they may be looking towards this or feeling this point of no return in the burnout area, but real estate is something they've talked about, they've thought about. Do I have to do one or the other first? So I have to address the burnout first before I go and try to seek alternate incomes, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a very important question. The way I look at it is that people that is really, and the spectrum of burnout could be something mild to really severe. And the worse you feel your burnout symptoms, the more help you need to get, like ASAP. And I ignored that for a long time because I felt that, again, going back to our mindset as physicians, we're warriors, right? We're in the front lines, so life depends on us, and we ignore our own health. And that's one of the things I'm trying to shift, everywhere I go and everywhere I talk. It's okay not to be okay. What is not okay is not seek help. That would be the first thing I'm going to share. The second thing is that on my journey, I realized that so sometimes you need to spend time reflecting on what you truly want. And I encourage anyone to take at least 30 minutes of the day to even do what we call a thought download, to start writing anything that's crossing your mind and see what is coming through. And the third one is to the question about what to do if you want to shift to start investing right away. I think people that is not in the right mindset, in the best emotional state, I truly believe in energy, Brett, and positive energy and negative energy. When you are surrounding yourself for only negativity, you are not in the best shape to take a huge leap. I prefer to do micro changes at once. And then when you feel ready, you can take that leap, or you can be doing one step at a time, not necessarily a drastic change. Because I don't want people to, again, and I'm going to give you a few examples. I have a few coaching clients that, they're basically over the course of 18 months, they have like 4 different jobs and the outcome is still the same. They're unsatisfied. They don't know what to do. They feel like defeated by the system. And I'm like, sometimes take a break, right? and let's talk about what do you really want first, right? And just start by design. And real estate is there. Go for it. I have amazing people reaching even the so-called fire, within a few years just by heavily focus on building their real estate portfolio. That's what you want. You can make that happen, but you need to get to that negativity zone, so to speak, and get to that mindset, that growth mindset to truly believe what you can become. Because, one of the things I see in physicians, being me part of it, I was there, we're very confident on what to do. We know how to manage patients and stuff like that. But sometimes we lack of self-confidence, what we can become in the future. You see yourself in the future, and it's nearly impossible. And I can already give you the example. A few years ago, if you asked me where I was in 2017, I will never dare to think where I am right now. Mm-hmm. So, and it took some time and some pain to get through this to where I am now. But that would be kind of my answer. Get help, try to get out of this negativity zone and build network, be tactic with when you're going to be related to. And the most important is to define why you're here and what you want. That why and what are crucial. You cannot bypass that step. The how will come after, whether this is real estate, retirement accounts, or you want to do build your own company, go locums, whatever the case might be. The options are so broad. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck to one single W-2 income and think the whole world is amazing and there are so many opportunities out there for any of these individuals that are interested in pursuing them.
Starting with the why and keep asking yourself, was it like the seven questions to unbury the real answer? It's not because you want more money. It's not because you want more time. Why do you want more money? Why do you want more time? And really dig down into that the foundational emotion that you're searching for. And that's the path. That's the place where we then can be in that self-realization to say, what is it that I really want? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be around? Who do I need to be to be that person, right? To have those types of goals, and setting that direction in our life is remarkable. And it's all about energy. You're 100% correct on that. The law of attraction, right? What you put out, you get back. And making sure that we're addressing ourselves in that manner too, and looking at what state of mind are we in, when it comes to burnout, or if I'm walking, I say this often, I've said it so much. You said it earlier too. When I speak, I learn, right? When I speak, I hear. When I teach, I learn. And when we lead into something and say, I can't, the brain shuts down, right? If I'm putting that energy off, if that's the kind of perspective that I have approaching, whether it's a new relationship, a new opportunity, I'm going to be right. I can't. I'm going to be right. But if we approach these relationships, opportunities with how can I, and that positive type of energy, the abundance perspective, we shape a whole new world. We shape a whole new path of opportunities that are right in front of us the whole time.
Yeah. And what is mind-blowing is that you can bring that energy now. You don't need to even change anything. You can just change with them, Yeah. And when I talk about well-being, this is the issue with well-being for healthcare workers, is the fact that well-being is not a passive state. It's an active choice. You need to want it. You need to pursue it. So, and that is something that you need to reflect on. If you really want to get to a better state of mind and health, physical, mentally, spiritually, you can do it, and you can do it now. But you just need to want it, and you really will make it happen.
Yeah. You got to want it, and start that path with understanding like what aligns with you. What is it that you want? Does that align with you? Because if what you want doesn't align with you, with who you are, then there's probably still some mud in the water. You need to ask why again. You need to dig deeper and really find that thing. Because when you do come up, and it's We talk about this a lot, and it's so hard to actually put my finger on certain things. But when you find that thing, Miguel, you could probably agree, when a person finds that thing, that why, it is a magnet that pulls them through. It pulls them out of situations, through situations, and it keeps you moving forward, not only consistently, but with that perspective of, hey, it's going to be all right. It's going to be great. This is exactly where I want to be. Just being pulled through, like a magnet pulling you through those times. If you could look back, say 10 years, Miguel, and set beside someone who was maybe on that same path as you. So 10 years, we're 2013. So prior to the 2017 mark for you. And maybe it was somebody in the hospitalist path doing what you were doing. What's something that you would tell them that you would think that would change their life in a positive way?
Yeah. Couple of things I would say. Of course, talking about finances, start as early as possible. And I didn't have that opportunity. I started late. I'm a late learning, I would say, in the financial world, but you can start at any stage of your career and you still will find a way to catch up. And I'm teaching my daughters that, that understand finances, how the world works, and start planning your future ahead of time. The second thing I would say, the more important, will be that change is possible. Life is in the transition, and you need to be prepared for the seasons of life. And that is something that at some point you feel like we want to have control, right? We have this high income, we have this huge career, and we feel we have this fallacy of controlling things. But the reality is we don't have control. We only have control over our own choices. So be prepared for the seasons of life, and remember that life is in the transition, and that's not a bad thing. It just is telling you that there's always going to be opportunities for change that are available to you at any given time in your life. And I truly believe in constant improvement and growth.
That's awesome. And now sharing that with others. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, connect with you, there's a spot on the website at doctorsjourney.com, correct? Where they could reach out, connect with you. And what would that look like? What's that look like when somebody reaches out to you? What's the first conversation look like?
Yeah. So, it depends. If this is coming for my coaching program, so we have a coaching conversation about what coaching means, what can offer it. We have a structure on our program. It's a 6 coaching session, and it has a theme, each of them, and you go through different phases. And the idea is, again, get you through point A to point B, understanding that you only have those answers, right? I'm just the middle person trying to get inside of you and see what you truly want. The second thing is, right now I'm getting into, I was telling you, new healthcare startups, and I'm reaching out to a lot of new companies, and I'm connecting. Actually, a few of my clients have been able to connect to some of these new ones. So I have also an opening for resources when physicians can get connected with some of these companies if they want to learn more. So therefore, I have also business meeting with some people that want to learn more about that as well. I think one is not exclusive of the other. I think they can go parallel, but it depends on each of the individual interests.
Awesome. Thank you again for your time today, Miguel. It's awesome. I love sharing this because we get, 30 minutes here together, but by recording it and sharing it and putting it out there, it can last for so long. And all it takes is just one person, to help one person. If you could be the person that we were speaking to, if you're listening now and this information has hit you, that's exactly why we're here, to help bring these things into perspective. And if it's the little things, if you have any more questions, please reach out to Miguel on his website at doctorsjourney.com. If you have any questions for us, you can email us at info@physicianwealthsystems.com. If you need help with any resources, anything, don't hesitate to reach out. That's why we're here, right, Miguel? We're here to help.
Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that one physician at a time, that's the way that's my mantra. If I can at least change one behavior and one physician at a time, I truly believe in the compounding effect. And that will change your healthcare system that is due for renewal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks again for your time. And to the listeners out there today, thank you for your time. And more importantly, thank you for your attention, because without attention, our time doesn't mean anything these days. So thank you so much for that. And we'll catch you on the next show. This is the Real Estate Mogul MD.